Damn, the Central has a lot of, the teams of all time. I will say that. It's honestly hasn't been too interesting just yet. Minnesota Wild. They didn't really do much in the off season. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot to talk about with them. They're a solid team. You're more so waiting on the young guys to take more of a step after they bought out Parise and Suter, which is hindering them cap wise. But Matt, who are the players the Coyotes are, kind of waiting for to take a jump here?
I'm gonna look at what the Wild have, not the Coyotes. With the first line, you have Kaprizov, Hartman, Zuccarello. Kaprizov is still waiting for that number one center to be on his line, but those days are coming, hopefully. Marcus Johansson on the second line, alongside with Joel Eriksson Ek and Matt Boldy, who is probably going to be my MVP for the Wild, aside from Kaprizov, of course. Third
Don't
line, you
sleep.
have
Don't sleep on
Marcus
Matt Boldy.
Foligno, Marco Rossi, who's still waiting to break out. I know he had that illness that really hampered his development. I forgot what exactly it was.
Wasn't it like a
But
really bad COVID case he got? I thought
it
it was.
it might have been. I'm not too sure on that. I don't want to say yes to something that's not true. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, no,
the
for
the
sure.
Wild have still been waiting on this kid to do something worthwhile. Freddie Gaudreau is on his right wing, and the fourth line. I found out today they have Patrick Maroon, a big rig, is in Minnesota. All right.
What the
And then you
heck?
have Connor Dewar, and then Brandon DeHame. On their defense, you have Jacob Middleton and Jared Spurgeon, Jonas Brodin, Brock Faber, and then John Merrill and Kalen Addison.
Honestly, I don't mind their team at all. I know they're missing out because they are very, very cap strapped, obviously because of those buyouts that I mentioned earlier. But the Minnesota Wild, they are certainly a team in the National Hockey League. I will say that much about them. Kirill Kaprizov, top three left wing, as agreed upon by all of us. He is a damn good player, gonna electrify every year. Fun to watch, big point production. Matt Boldy, Matt, like you said, we're waiting on this guy to have like a point per game as season. I think that could happen this year. He's a great player. Marco Rossi, he's 22. He doubled the numbers, but he was highly touted coming out of his draft year. Marcus Foligno just got a nice little extension, little 4x4 for that guy. And I think someone else just got an extension with them. Matt Zuccarello, I believe, got a 2-year extension. They have a lot of decent guys. I think aside from Kaprizov, they don't really have any surefire difference makers. Although Jared Spurgeon, I would argue, is a difference maker in a different kind of way. Last year, Philip Gustafson and Marc-Andre Fleury platooned with each other very well. They were a good tandem. Gustafson had insane numbers. They're solid. They're solid everywhere. They have a very decent offense of extremely good defense and decent goaltending. Darius, what's stopping Minnesota from excelling?
Themselves. The fact that they had to do those buyouts and stuff. I mean, this is a thin. When you really look at it on paper, it's a thin roster. I mean, your first line center Ryan Hartman, yikes. You know what I mean? But and the rest of the center depth, kind of yikes. Kirill Kaprizov, like you guys
Let's put
said,
some respect on Joel Eriksson Ek. Come on now.
he's a
That's true.
serviceable center. Okay.
He's not
Uh,
argue he's more than serviceable,
all right,
but
he's an okay. He's a good center. He's a good center, right? Is that fine? He's a second line center. Okay. But I think the Wild season's really going to depend on the younger guys. They're going to need the younger guys to take a step. Matt Boldy showed, he showed last year he can probably be that guy for them, right? And help out Kaprizov with the scoring and all that. But you're going to want to see him take another step. Marco Rossi, we've been waiting for this guy. I watched him in the OHL. That in the draft that he was picked, probably the most skilled player. So it's going to be exciting to see him actually get rolling and what he can do. So he's going to be a big X factor as well. And then when you look at their defense, like they've probably taken a little bit of a step back. Like if we're being honest, guys, the entire team. I'm not too over the top about their defense, and they lost Matt Dumba because of cap restrictions as well. But yeah, and then the goaltending, I think goaltending's pretty solid. Marc-Andre Fleury as your backup, not a bad thing. Philip Gustafson, he's played really well. He's probably going to be the starter, and they might split some games, whatever it may end up being. The goaltending is not an issue for this team, but I think they might take a step back. That's just the way I'm looking at it this year.
Yeah, I think you're putting a lot of onus on a guy like Kaprizov, who does do his thing whenever he's on the ice. But you really do need some depth to step up here. I think with their defense, yes, they lost Matt Dumba, but a guy like Brock Faber probably comes in and I don't think he assumes the Matt Dumba role, but he's a young guy that could maybe kind of He's 21. He's not old at all by any means. He still has a lot of ways to go. But their right defense, they got Faber, Addison, and Spurgeon. I think that's pretty good. Addison, I know they shelter him a little bit. He's very good offensively, decent instincts, but you're maybe asking a little more from him on the defensive side of the puck. John Merrill, Alex Goligoski, Jacob Middleton, Jonas Brodin. Those are all, I think, NHL defensemen. They can all play games in the NHL. And just nothing crazy aside from like Jared Spurgeon to me is one of the better defensemen in the league. He was like 7 or 8 in my top 10 list. I think he's very good, very underrated. Although he is 33 now, which is kind of old in hockey terms. Full no move clause. He's signed through 2027. So that's certainly a guy. But I think the big question for Minnesota, honestly, is going to be, like you said, Darius. Are they strong enough? In their centers. Obviously, to win a championship or be good in the playoffs, you need to have good center depth. And they're asking a lot from Marco Rossi. They're asking a lot from, I think Joel Eriksson Ek is an amazing player, but maybe they're putting him in too high of a role. And they're asking a lot from guys who maybe can't do it. Frederick Gaudreau's good, but I don't even know if he plays center, even though he's listed as a center here. Marco Rossi, he's probably going to be a good NHL player at some point. Probably not now because of what he's had to deal with. I think that's really going to hinder them. But guys, if the Wild do make the playoffs here, put together a good season, what makes that happen?
I think it's off the back of Gustafsson. Like, you need this guy to like show out for them to make a deep run.
I hate to piggyback off of answers. I like to keep it different, but it's going to be the goaltending that makes the difference. We know what Kaprizov can do, so to pick him would be stupid. Like, we know what he's going to do. He's going to need help, but I think if they have any shot here, it's the goaltending.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. In terms of, outside of the NHL, there's really nothing super crazy coming up. So, you're gonna have to wait on that too as well.
Well, they have who do they have in the goalie pipeline? Wallstedt?
I thought Wallstedt was in. I thought Wallstedt. This is so stupid. I thought Wallstedt was in Nashville. I'm thinking of Skarov. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Wallstedt would be. Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's kind of it though. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Like I think Liam Ogren is going to be a guy for them eventually. They certainly have some dudes here, but they're not going to make any kind of impact right now. Shout out Nick Patan. He's certainly there as well. But I don't know what else. Like the Wild, they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot all damn year with their defense and some of their wingers. Matt Boldy taking a step. I think best case scenario, they make the playoffs. Worst case scenario, they barely miss because I think, like you said, goaltending is, really decent. Defense, I think, is good enough. And it's literally just their centers. They should make a pitch for any kind of center at some point. They need someone because Marco Rossi is probably still a ways away. I don't know if he's ever going to hit that ceiling of being a bona fide 1 seed like people had him as when he was drafted. Or if Joel Eriksson Ek can really become a premier center in the league. You're asking a lot from these guys. You don't know if they have it. So Minnesota Wild, I think they might be a playoff team. Who really knows? So they're honestly low-key an interesting story for them because I've never seen a team this good, I guess maybe aside from Vegas, be this good and kind of lack center depth. But then Vegas went and got Eichel. So yeah, we'll see what Minnesota does throughout the coming season here.
For more content, visit our YouTube channel and check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.